Hey, Doug and Pat here again with another episode of the Wealthy Gym Owners. And today we're going to talk about the three numbers that decide whether your gym can scale. Let's get to it. So, Doug, you're our resident numbers guy. I think I've heard you say that spreadsheets are your love language at some point. So let's unpack the three numbers that decide if your gym can actually scale. What's number one?
I would start with the certainly the profitability, right? The 40/30/30. I like that framework. I haven't had to change it. I'm open to changing it if I get different inputs that change my mind. But recently, haven't faced anything that steers me away from that not being a solid framework to go after. So, just for context, the 40/30/30 is looking at your total gross revenue, 40% of that going to your payroll. And in many cases, you yourself are part of that payroll, right? As you know, the head coach, the manager, whatever title you want to slap on. If you were to remove yourself from the business, what role would you have to hire? So, looking at that plus any team members that you have, that should be at or under 40%. And then 30% going to your base operating expenses. That's all of your rent, your CAM charges, your triple nets, your softwares, everything else aside from people. And that should leave you with the final 30%. So I would not want to scale, whether that be in opening up multiple locations or whatever it may mean. I would not want to do that, and I would want to strive towards that 30% as a target.
Very cool. So let's talk about like the owner compensation because a lot of people they compensate themselves in a host of different ways. But I think you touched on what I've always kind of thought of as replacement value. Like, okay, factor in what you would have to pay your replacement to fill whatever roles that you're playing if you were going to go on like a year sabbatical. So, I mean, a practical sense, is there a better way to explain that? I know it makes sense in my head, but I don't, you know, know.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at, like, for example, our average Project 500 client when they come to us, they're probably coaching 20 hours a week, 20 sessions a week. They are during the other. I'm I know it's silly to say it's only a 40-hour work week and we don't count hours as entrepreneurs, but let's just call it the other half of their week is spent on doing sales appointments, doing lead follow-up, doing. And so if you really put that into a role, like let's say if you had to hire that role, um, in most like for us in our locations, that's the head coach, right? That's the head coach. They're training 20 hours a week. They're doing sales appointments. They're making sure clients are good. And so until you hire that head coach, you are really that head coach, general manager. And so in most markets, that's going to cost 40, 50, 60 grand. Um, and so, getting to a point where when we factor in 40% going to payroll, that you are paying yourself that. And that can also help you do math where if you're only doing 10 grand a month, well, 40% is 4 grand. So you're probably a solopreneur, right? But if you're doing, say, 20 grand a month, well, now 40% is 8 grand. Personally, I would not at that stage, although it might be enticing, I would not take all that 8 grand. I would take, say, 4 or 5, right? Assuming, that works for my personal life and family life. And I understand there's other factors here, but then allocate the remaining 2, 3, 4 grand towards a coach and, keep that. It's kind of like in personal finance world, the lifestyle creep, right? Like there is during those growth stages, the sacrifice of keeping your payroll at a reasonable rate so that you can not increase the 40%. Because remember, you are also part of this equation is protecting that 30% as the profit, which also not saying you shouldn't take all of that, but that is yours to do what you wish once you have it.
Awesome. So that is number one in our list of three. What is the second number that determines whether or not you can scale?
So, retention, I think, is it's not a topic that is sexy enough that we talk about in the industry, right? Like nobody wants to talk about how many people left their gym that month or any of that. But the reality is that is the indicator. It's a lagging indicator, but it is an indicator of if the client experience is dialed in enough, and if we are kind of losing too many people on the back end, then that's a leaky bucket. So I think it's important to understand that there is a percentage of people that are going to leave. Typically we find in most markets somewhere between 4 and 6%. I used to say 2 and 3%, but the reality is the marketplace has become more competitive. People have more options, shorter attention spans, et cetera. So keeping that retention in line, I think, is another kind of indicator that I would look at.
Yeah, I have this kind of hypothesis that over time, retention becomes more and more important for the reasons that you just mentioned, right? I mean, people have more choices. The forced retention that comes with, I mean, when I got into the fitness industry, Bally's was doing lifetime contracts, and there were plenty of 2 and 3 year contracts that people were tethered to in the health club world. So, we don't have that kind of legal the legal teeth associated with retention maybe that we had in the past. So it means we're gonna have to work a little bit harder to keep that number high. So all right. Retention 40, 30, 30. What's the third number?
So making sure you are priced right, and that number is going to be determined by looking at what we might call ARM, or revenue per client. Basically, how much does your average client pay? Because I'm not going to say all of us, maybe there was some lucky person that priced themselves right from day one, but most of us, myself included, we priced ourselves very low in the beginning. And so, and over time, maybe through coaching, we learn that we need to increase our prices. And of course, the easiest way to do that is to do it for new people going forward. And so all of a sudden you wake up and you have all these different price points that people are paying, and you have, what would be maybe a less than desirable average, right? So you have, Susie that's been with you for 7 years paying half of what a new person is paying. And so looking at it as an average, so not just, I think, certainly check the box that you are currently priced right, meaning what you are selling new people into is priced appropriately to scale. But also looking at how can we, is our average revenue per client high enough? And if not, how and what are we doing to increase that?
All right. So the three numbers that decide if we can scale, average revenue per client, 40, 30, 30, and our retention number. So if so maybe the first thing that I'd tell anybody on our end is, are you tracking those three numbers? Right? Because I don't think that that's a default for most small gym owners, most small business owners in general. They kind of come to the tracking numbers and having a scoreboard a little bit later a lot of the time. So when we get those numbers tracked, then we can see, are we on track or off track, and we can make the appropriate amendments. Any final thoughts or things that you'd like to add, Doug?
No, I would just say you can't fix all three at once. So, once you do start tracking those three, the kind of looking at it as what is maybe the one that's most off track, right? And so if you're currently, and they certainly all feed into each other. Obviously, if you have better retention, then, you're hopefully profiting more, et cetera, et cetera. However, I think it would be important to identify, like anything, you can't work on. There's always stuff to work on in the business. So what is the one out of those three that I'm going to maybe zoom in on and put focus to, and look at improving over time.
All right. So if you're interested in scaling, these are the three numbers that you need to get dialed in to make sure that you're set up to succeed. And that's another episode of The Wealthy Gym Owners with Pat and Doug signing off.